Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is probably my final video for the Necropolis League, and today I wanted to go over my build of the league and also some thoughts and feedback I have around Necropolis itself. So starting off with the build, this is my CoC DD Inquisitor that I league started with, and now I have brought it to its final form. It has cleared all content in the game, and it is also the only build that I've played this league. I genuinely think it is one of the best all-rounder builds ever, definitely for this league. It checks all the boxes that I have, which is having great single target, it clears maps well, and it has insane defenses as well. I'll showcase the gear in a bit here, but if you look at our defenses, we have cap suppression, we have 90 res, cap chaos res, over 1000 life regen per second, and that's due to a couple things: lightning coil and melting of the flesh. That is one of the best defensive layers you can have this league. You can use it as a template across a lot of builds. Having 90 rs is just too good to pass. Also, Adorn. This is a 135% Adorn. That is expensive, but it really pushes your build to the next level because you can get insane jewels. Other things that I have is this nice shield that I crafted in the graveyard. I'll show a clip of it later. It's super easy to craft. Also, these two rings here was from the graveyard as well. And then this boots that I bought. Essentially, the only important what is the cooldown recovery rate, and everything else is just a nice bonus. And having reduced extra damage from critical strikes. Essentially, this build is just close to immortal. It's able to run T17s comfortably. It does not get one shot. It still dies if you just be idle in the map, but you can't really beat these defenses here. And also, of course, a Mage Blood, which is at this point about 80 divine, so super cheap this league. As for the damage, we are running a T17 here in the background, and as you can see, everything just dies really. And one of the biggest upgrades for me in terms of damage for this build is getting an Awakened Cast and Crit, especially a level 5 Awakened Cast and Crit. That paired with additional cooldown recovery rate on your boots and even some Abyss jewels will bring your cooldown recovery rate to 52%, and that will there's a whole breakpoint calculation involved, but essentially that will significantly increase your damage. So that is very expensive, but it is the biggest upgrade in terms of damage that you can do for this build. Next, I want to talk about Necropolis and what do I think about it, any feedback that I have. And overall, I think that it has huge potential in terms of crafting mirror tier items, and it brings back memories of Harvest in a way. If you've played Harvest, you'll remember that when it was first introduced to the game, it was very clunky. You had to plant your crops, you had to run some maps, you had to wait for the crops to blossom, and then you harvest it. And there was a whole, people were coming up with Excel sheets to let you know how to plant your crops and all that. Personally, I did not participate in that. I did not do any harvest crafting, but eventually harvest was introduced to the core mechanic as a core mechanic where crafting was a lot simpler. We had a horde crafting bench, and everything was done through that. So I think Necropolis, in this sense, it is in its early stage, and there is a lot more iterations to come. If it were to become a core mechanic, it can definitely be simplified and become more user-friendly. The main idea that it has is really simple. You are increasing chances for mods that you want, decreasing chances for mods that you don't want. And then you are adding mod tiers to raise the tier level. And then there are other little niche stuff like crafting specific items, vermilion rings, and so forth. But the concept is simple, right? It's easy to understand, and I think that's the key. GGG, if they want to implement this as a core mechanic, I think that it can be simplified, possibly becoming like a crafting bench just like Harvest, or just removing a lot of the unnecessary mods. But yeah, so I think personally I've enjoyed Necropolis. I'm gonna show a few clips here of some crafts that I've made. There's easy crafts, and then I've attempted some hard ones as well. They are quite time consuming. If you're playing in Trade League, you have to buy most of the crafts, especially if you're doing one of the harder ones that involves increasing adjacent effects and all that, because you need to match the monster type. It's just a pain in the ass to do it, but it's usually quite rewarding. And contrary to most of the comments that I see on Reddit, I think this league has been quite a blast for me. It's different, and I think the introduction of T17 maps has caused quite the stir. And my honest thoughts is that yes, it is definitely spitting out a disproportionate amount of loot compared to T16s. However, the difficulty is also disproportionate to T16s. So that means very few builds out there are able to run them. So in that sense, the difficulty reward balance makes sense. I don't think it's gatekeeping players away from the content. It's more like you have to upgrade your build as you go, and eventually your build will be able to do T17s. The POE economy is unique in the sense that it self-regulates. So a lot of the chase items this league, like a Headhunter or a Mage Blood, it's probably the cheapest and the most affordable that it has ever been. That means that you are able to farm your regular T16 maps, running your normal content to gather currency and eventually afford one of these chase items. And eventually, as your build gets stronger, you'll be able to run T17s and you're able to get more loot. So I don't think it's completely a disaster in the sense that T17 has broke the game like a lot of players say it to be. I think that build progression is still viable, and I think a lot of people overlook this. Do I think Necropolis will make it to the core game? I don't really know. I don't think it will, just because at this point of the league, it's too powerful. People are crafting triple fracture items, and it's just like Harvest, right? It's a too overpowered currently, but if they do nerf it, they do balance it, then yeah, there is a potential that it might make it into the core mechanic. So yeah, that's it for my video today. I hope that you're enjoying Necropolis League as well. I hope that you've enjoyed your build, and I look forward to seeing you guys next league. Peace.
Stars betray us. I will not rest until this land is cleansed. Perish. Midfence. Give in. No escape. You will know pain. I will beg this world to